Hello, everybody. So who have we got here? This is Spec.
From the beginning?
Yeah, we already know Mark went to sleep,
Yeah, Mark
but
went
he
to
still may
sleep.
be listening to us.
Danny Boyd is here.
Hello, Dan. Change that to
Why did you
live chat up
close?
there, please.
Yes, 1 second.
I don't want to make that mistake
Live chat.
in case Stray Bullet shows up.
uh, sorry. It stopped me. Like it restarted me for some reason.
Okay, so we got Danny Boyd.
Is Dobby Far?
Hey, Dobby. Thanks for coming.
Patrick is here.
Patrick Sullivan. Welcome.
Let me see. KJ Kylie.
Kylie. You got it right.
I remember.
KJ Kylie. Welcome.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin. Hope you feel better.
Steven Andrews.
Yeah, I already talked to him. He says he has to go to bed.
He has to go to work.
Yeah. Some people do that on Mondays.
Yep. Long Range Garage is here.
Hey, Lone Wrench. How's it going?
Bilefly is here.
Vilefly, welcome.
And they're doing fly circles excitedly. Um, Paul P. Joey is here. How do you say
Hi,
that?
Paul. Welcome.
Yes. Dennis
Dennis
Edwards.
Edwards. Hello, Dennis.
Hey guys.
Some of you guys were here on Saturday, and you know that the first bit of these vehicles are all liquid cooled Volkswagen vans with the 1.8 liter Golf engine in it, 4 cylinder, because these are vans that I showed a client, and he picked one, and then that one turned out to be a problem. So we picked another one, and then all of a sudden he says, I can't do the deal. And then that van sold, but it would have been a really nice van for him. It had a burner in it, a propane burner in it. It had a sink to wash your hands. It had a refrigerator in it. It had a sofa bed in the back. It was a pretty nice van. Not the nicest on the outside, but it had everything on the inside, and very good price too.
Oscar's wondering who you're talking to.
Hey, little pup, what's up? I'm talking to people here on the screen. I don't know if you can see that. There's colors there. You can't see colors. I know.
World of Woodchip is here.
Hey, World of Wood Chip. Thanks for joining us. What is the seventh dimension? How many dimensions do we have? Three?
I don't know.
What are the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensions? I'm not sure. I want to know though.
Mm-hmm.
Perro Spec. Yes, he's right here. His name is Oscar. I rescued him from one of the neighbors.
Rescued is in quotations.
Well, no, he was very close to death, so I stole him from the neighbor so I could
Yeah.
save his life. And ever since then, he's been following me around. He has his own bedroom with access to the patio out there, so that's all his area. But since his compañera died a couple of weeks ago, we've been letting him come into the house. So now he comes in and sleeps in Mrs. Speck's room.
Though far as this says that sounds like a nice band.
That most of these are good. The one that's on the screen right now has casino carpet on the seats. So I'm not sure I would want that one, or just take it to one of the posterers here, and for like 3,000 pesos, he'll redo the whole interior. So yeah,
Kevin Smith says I could use that for a wheelchair van, put a lift in.
yeah, because it does have the gasoline, it does have the regular inline 4 cylinder engine. It powers these vans pretty well. Fifth dimension, yeah.
Butterfly says, Spec, isn't there a kit where a Subaru Flat 6 is to be installed for those?
Yes, but why would you want to downgrade the van from an inline four to a Subaru engine that's going to blow up? I wouldn't want to do that. Maybe on an air cooled van, but these are not air cooled vans. These are liquid cooled vans. The radiator's in the front and it pumps water all the way to the back of the engine and cools the engine. Which you could also install air conditioning in one of these, front and rear, and actually have a nice van to drive. It'll keep up on the highway, no problem, with modern traffic. The reason that they did this was because the majority of these vans were used for delivery services, and in places like we live, which it got really hot, the air cooled vans weren't really good because they leave them running all day long. So all of these delivery vans that delivered the potato chips and delivered everything that the little stores in the neighborhoods needed, they would just leave the vans running, deliver the stuff, and keep going. Hello, Kitty.
Butterfly says, fourth dimension is the time. That's all I got.
Fine.
Kevin Smith says, who rescued who?
Well, I rescued him because I paid the vet bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
KJ says the fifth dimension was a music group of in the 60s.
Yes. Yes, I remember that.
Butterfly says, oh, inline 4, got it.
Yeah.
Josh Homan is here.
Hey, Josh. Welcome.
Also, Thunderbird is here.
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird 1968.
Oh, hi. Welcome.
They say what's happening. Just curious what the difference between a Mexican 302 and a regular one, if any.
The Mexican 302 had supposedly more nickel in the block, so it was a stronger engine. You could build it out to get more power out of it, and they never lowered the compression like they did in the US. So you have basically, from what Dean Stevenson said, it's basically a 1968 Ford 302 that they used up until 1984 in the Mexican cars because there was no smog on the engines here at all. Nothing to kill the power. So that's all you got is big engine and transmission in these Mustangs. So it powered them pretty well.
Kevin says the warden doesn't leave the house very frequently.
Yeah, that's terrible. Got
Dan,
to get out once in a while.
Dan says Corvair engine.
People don't even want to put Corvair engines in Corvairs, Dan. They're putting V8s in them now.
Butterfly says looks almost like a Ford 2.3 liter.
It's probably a similar design because how many different designs of an inline four overhead cam engine can there be?
World of Witcher says with enough caffeinated beverages you can skip fourth, fifth, and sixth and go straight to seven, pulling off major feast before crashing for 11 hours.
Okay,
Peace.
so how many coffees have you had?
Kevin says I like the white walls.
There's so many different designs of the vans and colors and what people do on the inside because the blue one that was a little bit ago, they put all the wood in there. It's really nicely decked out in wood, and luckily the engine can carry all that weight in the van plus everybody that's going to be in it and everything. I haven't driven one of these vans since, I don't know, it was 1985, I think, 84 maybe. In California, I had to take an air cooled one to go get smogged. They had a central smog station in California. Everybody had to go to the one place, and it was in Van Nuys. So I was on the Simi Valley Freeway with my foot on the floor doing 50 miles an hour. That's as fast as that thing could go. So not sure. I was looking forward because I was going to drive the van home. I was going to drive the van about, I don't know, 800 kilometers home, and then I was going to take it to the border, which was another 800 kilometers. Sitting you're at right at the windshield, with that steering wheel. So I don't know.
Dan says gato spec too.
Yeah, gata. Dan, she's a female gata.
Well, you didn't specify that.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Homan says limited to one and all. And Kevin says haven't seen T-Birds for a minute. Butterfly says love the wood roof.
Yes, somebody did a lot of work on that thing.
Yeah. Dan says straight up timings set to probably.
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta go kick some kitty butt.
You have the microphone on.
Why? So
Just
there's
don't say too
no
many vile
so
things.
there's no witnesses?
Yeah.
Come on, outside. Outside.
You have
Come
a
on.
tail.
Angie.
Oscar, come on. Come
She
here.
doesn't want to go outside. She feels left out. Oh, no, no. Dog, you're not going. Okay, she wanted to go out in front. Good. One less troublemaker in the house.
And Dobby says, are parts for the Volkswagen vans hard to find?
The engine parts are not, because it's the same 1.8 liter that they used in the Volkswagen Golfs in the US. They just don't have any smog on them or anything. They're a lot easier to work on, because when you open up the rear hatch, there's another hatch that you open up that you can get to the top of the engine, and then you have the door in the back that you can get to the front of the engine. So you have access from all around to do to replace spark plugs or whatever. It's not a very difficult vehicle to work on.
Dan says, that was a panel van originally, I'll bet.
Some of them were, yes, that they installed windows on, because most of these were the combis were panel vans, and they called the passenger vehicles, like the white one at the beginning was called a caravel. I know that was a Plymouth in the 80s, but Volkswagen used it here in Mexico for these Volkswagen vans with the passenger seats in the back and some dome lights or something. There was some special package that had a couple of dome lights in there. And you'll notice that these newer ones from, I think, 1993 on have the raised roof on it, so you could almost stand up in one of these, which is, good. You don't bump your head in there.
Then it says, any more pics of those crazy Volkswagen rims?
Which ones?
I think the ones with the
The
W on it.
the ones that are on the Volkswagen Beetle that'll come later? No, I just have them on that car.
Kevin Smith says, maybe Warden could use a short bus. Thunderbird says, if I ever had the money to transport a vehicle, I would love to get one from you. How long have you been importing vehicles?
Over the past 2 years, I've sold 10 vehicles, and I've taken them all to the Arizona border. But this week we are heading off to buy the green Ram Charger that's on the thumbnail, and we're going to be driving it down south to the port of Veracruz, and we're going to be shipping it off to Jacksonville, Florida for the client there. So he'll be able to pick it up in the U.S. without having to, come to Mexico or anything. Of course, I do have a transport company that can pick up the vehicle in the port for him and deliver it to his door if he chooses to do that too.
So we're starting that journey.
Yes.
Granddad's Junk says, oh, Granddad's Junk is here?
Oh, hi,
Sorry.
Granddad's Junk.
Sorry, Granddad's Junk says, good day, Mixie Brotherhood and Sister Mr. Mix. Oh, sorry. Kevin says, what's the price range?
The second one that I was going to get the client with the tariff and everything, it was $9,000 in the U.S. with the refrigerator and everything. Some of these were higher because they've done a lot of work on them and everything. But if you want a really really nice low kilometer caravel with the passenger model, some people are asking 15, 16, $17,000 for them. Two of these were sold on Bring a Trailer. It's been 3 years now. Two red ones. They were two cousins that bought them here and took them to the U.S. You can go look at Scotty Kilmer's channel, because one of them was brought to him, and he said that's the only Mexican vehicle that he liked. So still don't like him, but anyway, one of them sold for 13,500, and the other one sold for 17,500 on Bring a Trailer. That was 3 years ago. So people are, and none of them have sold since. Everything that you see on there are combis from Brazil that are not liquid cooled. They're still air cooled, which I don't understand why anybody would buy that on the newer vehicles. But because this is much better, and a lot of people don't like the big black grill on the front, but paint it the color of the vehicle and it doesn't stand out as much. But I'd rather have the liquid cooled engine than the air cooled engine. But it could be, it could be, let's say, from 10,000 to 15, depending on what you want in one of these.
Dan says, huh, I drove one of these but air cooled in 1985.
Yeah, I was right around there too, and I
Uh,
haven't driven one since, so that tells you what my experience was.
says they say my dad's brother had a Volkswagen Buzz back in the early 70s. Butterfly says my headliner is delaminating, so the wood roof idea is growing on me for my 94 Caprice wagon.
Then you'll have wood falling on your head.
World of Wood says I think we're past 5 of the dimensions.
Oh, okay. I'm still in the third.
Steven Andrews says my brother daily drives a 1962 Corvair Greenbrier van.
Yeah, that's with the engine in the back too. It's a different experience, I can tell you that.
Dan says Gato Malo. I'm really behind.
Gata Mala, Dan,
Kevin says poor kitty.
is the only female we have in the house.
Kevin says, "What's that thing sticking out of the front? Is that air conditioner?"
I don't think so, but I didn't see anything sticking out the front of any of them. You could have all kinds of configurations. You have these two seats that they built in this one facing back, and then you have a bench seat in the back facing forward, or the passenger vehicles had two rows of seats back there because you can't really put anything where the engine is. Um, or you could just get a cargo van and deck it out like one of the 70s vans and then do the painting on the side and all kinds of stuff and make it really cool. But people do not sell these vans cheap. They absolutely do not.
Dan says, "Should have called it the Caravel." Dobie says, "Thank you. I've never worked on one before. Was curious." Josh Homan says, and in Canada, Caravel was the name of one of their full-size Chrysler cars in the 1980s.
Oh, they must have used the name because it was the E series front wheel drive car in the U.S. that was a Plymouth Caravel. So they must have used the car on the Diplomat, the Plymouth instead of the Plymouth Fury, it was a Caravel up there.
Thunderbird says, "Would you try to open opportunities to ship to Canada?"
We are trying to do that to the west coast of Canada. We're looking for a transport company that will, because I 4 hours from here is the port of Mazatlan, and I can deliver the vehicles there, and then they could be shipped. My shipping company said for the foreseeable future, they're not taking any vehicles to San Diego or Long Beach because new car production has calmed down because of the holidays. Once that ramps back up, then they'll start shipping cars again. So I could ship up to San Diego or Long Beach, and the transport company can take it to the Canadian border. But Mrs. Spec found a company that is coming the other way, and in order to get it to the west coast of Canada, we would put it on the ship here in what,
Mazatlan?
in Mazatlan,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Then it goes south.
Ventimiglia?
It goes south, heads over to China, and the vehicle would have to switch boats twice, I think you said,
Yeah.
and then they would come back around and deliver it in Canada. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. I'm not going to have so many people putting their hands on it, and because there's just so much risk of damage with so many people taking it off this ship, putting on another ship, then that ship, and the thing could get lost, and then we're just out the whole vehicle. So
I don't think it will be they will be moving the vehicle per se. I think they will be moving the container. But yeah, it was still
it's not
still
they're not in
same.
containers. They're roll on, roll off. We don't put them in containers. It's roll on, roll off.
I don't know.
It's driven on and driven off.
I will have to ask. But
So
they haven't answered
we
me.
haven't found a transportation company that can get it up to Canada, but we're looking. Which side of Canada are you on? You're on Alberta, right? So you're on the west coast, I think.
Somebody's playing outside. World of Wood Chip says, not a van guy, but I could use a G20. Kevin says, decent price. He restarted my chat for some reason. Kevin says,
You did that.
thought Scotty died 3 times this week.
He did, and he keeps coming back to life.
Patrick says, Scotty is retiring, I've heard. Josh Homan says, being sued as well.
See on this van, you're gonna, well, it's already passed, but there's an access panel to get to the engine, and in the last picture. So you lift that up, and there's the engine right there. And one of the questions I always ask these people is, has the timing belt been changed? And on that last van I was going to sell the client, he changed the timing belt every 2 years, because the timing belt here is only the equivalent. It's $36 for the timing belt, and mechanics don't charge very much to put it in. So why not do it more than is required to just to make sure there's no problems? But yeah, that has to be done before any type of driving is done in one of these.
Mopar Man is here.
Hey, Mopar Man, Jeremiah, thanks
Kevin
for coming.
Kevin Smith says, "My buddy Dino absent today."
I
Uh,
don't know if he knows. I suppose he knows because Uncle Tony's talked about it, but maybe he'll show up.
Believe in Yourself DIY is here.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for coming.
They say a jumper cable walks into a bar. The bartender says, "I'll serve you, but don't start anything." Okay.
That you need to change that joke to jump box, because I don't think anybody uses jumper cables anymore.
I don't know. Will the Trill is here.
Hey, Will. Thanks for joining us.
Hold on. Patrick says, "Looks like it's Kevin." Kevin says, "I believe in that jokes. That's my line." Firefly is okay. My time is up. Good night, all. Gotta show up for work. Good night,
Good night,
Firefly.
Barfly.
Flymo's here.
Hey, Slimo. What's up?
They said the only water cooled combi I've seen in Australia had a Holden 253 V8 and the radiator was hanging on the bull bar. The engine lid was extended about 10 inches back.
Yeah, but that wasn't a factory build. These were built in the factory here in Puebla, Mexico. So yeah, they were like I was telling everybody in the chat on Saturday that when they did something in the plant, they didn't go looking for another engine. So they were already making the 1.8 liter for the Golf. They just threw it in the van. They made it work in the van. If they come up with another car, all of the air cooled cars and vans have the Type 1 engine. There was no Type 2 engines, Type 4 engines here in Mexico. We're talking about the Beetle, we're talking about the vans, we're talking about the Brasilia, and I think that's the only air cooled vehicles they made in the here. All of them had the exact same engine. And in 1993, they fuel injected the Volkswagen Beetles, and in 1988, they made the liquid cooled van, so they didn't have to do that with the air cooled engine. They were already into liquid cooled engines, so they just used what they had and they made it work in the van, and it changes the whole personality of this vehicle completely.
Kevin Smith, sorry, Kevin Smith says, "Believe, put a band-aid on a pumpkin, you have a pumpkin patch." Thunderbird says, "Alberta is closer to West Coast, yes, but right above Montana."
Okay, well then you're in the middle, but I can't really send a transport ship to the middle of Canada. But we could cross it in Arizona, and the transport company can take it from there and go straight up to Montana. That's also a possibility without going around to one side or the other. It's the most direct route, and his what he charges is not too bad, because as I understand it, he the one of my clients sells Japanese cars that he buys in Japan, in Tennessee, not too far from where Tony is, and the guy charges this guy. I think he does like two or three cars at a time though, but he charges him like $600 to $700 from Jacksonville, Florida to Tennessee, which is a really cheap rate considering whenever whenever you hear about a transport, it's into the thousands, no matter where they go. So this guy's really reasonable, but I just need to be able to get him across the border, which I can't do because the buyer is supposed to be the one to to cross it. And you guys in Canada, we wouldn't actually import the vehicle into the US. What we would do for you is it would be a little bit extra money, but we would get license plates here and current license plates and everything. And then you could drive the car from the Mexican border up to the Canadian border or transport it or whatever and import it into your country. There's no reason to pay tariffs and taxes and everything into the U.S. So yeah, we have to figure out how to get that going because you guys need more Mexican beetles up in Canada.
Believe says to Kevin, I'll be watching for the Great Pumpkin.
That's
Uh,
that's in like 10 months. We got 10 months to wait for that one.
I don't know what that is, but okay. Kevin says timing belt is important.
In that engine, yes.
Steven Andrews must make sure the pumpkin patch is sincere. Kevin says pumpkins will always be a pumpkin. What are you guys talking about? Sam Husker is here.
Hey, Pitts Night,
They say Spec and
welcome.
Anna bonus. Kevin Smith says those buses would be cool with a visor over the windshield.
The first one that I showed had the visor on there, and I was just telling Mrs. Speck, if you sit in the seat, are you looking at the visor? Because the seats are pretty high on these things, especially the original, because that was an all original van. Are you sitting? Are you looking into the visor, or can you actually see through the windshield? I don't know. I'm not even sure if that van actually existed, because that's the first one that was shown. That's the one I had sold to the client. I offered to the client, and that's the one he wanted because of the price and the condition. And yes, the timing belt had been changed and new tires and everything else. And I talked to the wife, and she gave me the husband's number, which was an agricultural company in the state of Zacatecas, which is a very, very dangerous place. So while I'm talking to him, he's telling me about the bus and everything. Talking to him, I said, "Is it a safe place to go?" And he says, "I can't tell you it's a safe place. I can't tell you that. I would be lying if I said it was." So because it's just inside the border from Jalisco. So I told Mrs. Speck that we'll go there on a bus. We'll get there like, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the afternoon. All of the bad guys are still asleep from the shenanigans at nighttime. We'll buy the van, stay in a hotel till the next day, drive out of the state at about the same time, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, get out of the state quick and go back to Jalisco, and we should have been fine. But the last time I talked to the guy was December 28th, the last time I sent a message and he answered. After that, after New Year's, I see that the number is just not there anymore. Because when I would check contact info on WhatsApp, it said agricultural company and gave me all this information. Now when I check it, there's nothing there. It's like it's a dead number. Nobody knows what it is, and they haven't answered me in the past 2 weeks. So I'm not even sure if the van actually existed. I don't know, but that was the best we could do, on that. Because I actually had a second customer that was asking me about it too, and I said, I can't. I tried my best to contact the customer, and after I talked to them, I'm sure I didn't say anything offensive. I'm sure of that. It wasn't me, it was them.
Okay.
I'll tell you, it wasn't me, it was them. They were the problem. But that means I don't have to go into a dangerous area to pick up a Volkswagen van.
They're talking with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Kevin and Pitsnap were uh, Pitsnap was at Kevin's live, and they're talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Believe says, "Why should you never trust a train? They have locomotives."
But bum.
Kevin says, "I was in screen with Santa." And Pitsnap says, "I'm done now, Kev." So it's tonight the night of the dad jokes.
It is Sunday night, so these people are probably very, very tired. But like Kevin said, he took a half a bottle of NyQuil, so we can't really expect much sanity from him. Pitts night. What number of drink are we on right now? That'll tell us.
Pitsnap says, "Keep a lot of my comments tonight, Miss Anna. Who are you? Dean?" I was gonna say Dennis.
Dean. Yeah, the prices on those vans can get pretty high. I've seen them. I've seen some of them with 60,000 kilometers on them, which is what,
Oh, I love that.
35,000 miles on it.
I love that color.
But then my question is, But then my question is, where has it been all this time? Why doesn't it have kilometers on it? And believe it or not, they only have 5-digit odometers. So actually, they're all original mile vans, all of them.
This knife says it's a drink number one. But how big
Oh,
was the drink? Kevin says that jokes are us.
yeah. There's all kinds of options for Volkswagens in this country, all kinds.
Business says I'm at a quarter tank in my coffee cup. We'll make a fresh one soon.
So you've been drinking more coffee, so you're on a caffeine high. Is that what's affecting the comments?
Kevin says, Pete, every time I make a comment, you should take a shot.
Don't do that, Pitt. Don't do it.
No.
Oh.
I believe says my humor hobby isn't always a walk in the park. Can be quite risky, but when a drop hits, it's a rush. Brenda says, "What's a cool car? What's a cool car in front of Volkswagen? What?
Wasn't it a Volkswagen van?
What's that cool car in front of
You
Volkswagen?
have to run the pictures back a little bit.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Choo, 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 choo.
Oh, okay. No. Oh, I don't know. You're talking about the beige one or the orange one?
What orange one? I see
The
one and
one
two.
one picture back or one picture forward? I'm not sure. Click one back.
Uh,
No, then click two forward and do the hokey pokey. Yeah, that there. It's some kind of build they're doing.
This is the gray car. Gray car.
The gray car is a Volkswagen Beetle. Do you see another gray car?
Uh,
That's a beige car. The
no.
beige one it looks like a Ford.
Beige one is this.
Yeah, that looks like a Ford of some kind. I
That?
don't know. Yeah, that. I don't know. Those aren't in the
From the
pictures.
1940s or something?
Yeah, or 30s. Yeah, go ahead.
This just looks like a Ford Vicky.
Yeah. This Volkswagen, I don't know if you notice it, but it has the semaphores. There's no turn signals on this car. I'm pretty sure.
Business says double shot in 12 ounces of coffee, Miss Anna.
Okay, so he's doing both alcohol and caffeine. So they're kind of working against each other.
Thunderbird says, I find it very interesting how some parts of Mexico are so normal and nice and other parts not so much. But I guess it's like that everywhere.
Yeah, it is. Parts of Los Angeles are really nice, Hollywood, Beverly Hills. Then you go into downtown and you go into Compton and places like that, and you might not make it out. So
Yeah.
it's basically the same everywhere. But there's territories here that people are fighting over, and you just have to stay out of those areas.
Patrick says, think he's talking about talking the 30s.
Yeah, the 30s, something like that.
Business says, I forget where my dad intersected with yesterday's stream.
Day. Where my
My
day.
day intersected with yesterday's stream,
Uh-huh.
sorry. But it was pure daddy gold for most evening. Most
That's
maybe.
good.
And Kevin says, are they still making the Mexican Beatles?
No, the production ended in June or July of 2003. They made an ultimate edition in beige or baby blue. Actually, it's a little bit lighter than baby blue. And even though they were made at the same time, their VIN says they're 2004 models. They bumped it up a year, but they were actually made in 2003. Those are coming up on 25 years old, and the prices are going to go even higher when Americans are allowed to buy them. The prices are really high on them right now. Because some people just bought them and put it in a garage.
They're thinking about redoing them, but I mean, started doing them again, but it's completely different and it's not a Beetle anymore. Like it's not, you couldn't call it a Beetle.
No, there's too many safety regulations for them to build the
Yeah.
exact same car again, and nobody wants them to do that. There's already, up to 2003 was enough Beetles.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to go to the Volkswagen dealer here and buy a Beetle when there's so many other cars available, not for that cheap, but more expensive, a little bit more expensive, where it has air conditioning and it has front wheel drive and it has, everything else that you need in a little car and a daily driver.
Thunderbird says, I felt pretty scared as a kid driving through Detroit in some neighborhoods.
Yeah, I bet.
Kevin says, yep, Detroit is bad.
Yeah.
Patrick says, I wonder world count of the Beetle is got to be billions.
No, Patrick, do a quick Google search and ask how many air cooled Volkswagen Beetles were made, and it's the numbers there.
If you want to do something mean, you can yell, but you can say loud Alexa, and then yell an order like play Despacito, and a bunch of the guys are gonna be pissed at you. um, Snipe says daughter's mother's-in-law to be stated outright that maybe my grandson should live with his hot mess of a dad. She was strapped there while the fiance worked on his truck and his dad's shop.
The kids are always the one that pay the price.
Believe says how many were made? All of them.
Yep.
Dan says sticky dope steering wheel. Kevin says that red Chevy step side looks like my buddy's truck, except it doesn't have my pinstripes on it.
Oh, that was supposed to be a 1960 model, which it obviously wasn't. This is a 1961 Econoline pickup, but the guy thinks it's worth gold. That's a lot of Beetles, Patrick. 21.5 million. Million.
Prism says my baby was devastated, so I deployed her stepdad to save her. Granddad's Jug says that truck is beautiful.
Yeah.
Patrick's answer is over 21.5 million.
Yeah. That's a lot of putt-putts.
Barracuda's here.
Hey, Barry. Welcome.
Grandad says Barracuda brother, good name. Hold on. Business says it's good to have a team. All is well, but damn, women are ugly.
Women say ugly.
Women say ugly she's
Shit.
to one another.
Yeah, they sure do. There's no filter anymore with women, unfortunately. And the guy, whoever did the work on this truck, did it really well. The wood bed in this thing, I think these things had metal beds in them because they were all one piece. Wasn't a bed. It was a one piece vehicle. I don't think there was wood back there. And this thing does have a 289 in it. It's not an inline 6-cylinder truck. It got a 289 in it. But man, somebody did a lot of work on this thing. Really nice. They never had pop out windows like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was installed.
Will the Drill says I'm just starting to learn about South African muscle cars. So far, I am learning about very cool cars there.
Well, the problem with those are the steering wheel's on the wrong side. No offense, Barry.
Thunderbird is saying goodbye. He's going to bed now.
Good night, Thunderbird. Thanks for joining us.
Good night. Kevin Smith says nice paint. Chris Snipe says Miss Anna has a filter, but I wouldn't test its limits.
Yeah.
I try. Kevin says they would be good or good at it.
I'm not sure I'd want to drive this Econoline considering how low it is to the ground and how bumpy the ride must be, because those are rubber band tires, especially not in the roads on Mexico. But it is a nice looking truck. And with the V8, again, it'll keep up with traffic, and when the inline six will not. I know that from experience.
Will Digital says that's okay. There's still as cool as Australian muscle cars, and of course the Mexican muscle cars.
The few of them that we do have.
Business says I'll get out of my own ass now. Giving y'all context. Just giving y'all context. Business. Sorry. Barracuda says I wouldn't want to be involved in a head on in an Econoline. Oh,
Me
in a head
either.
on
Yeah,
in an Econoline.
me either, or the Volkswagen van either. But you should avoid it. The thing I found out when I drove the Ormiga was when you're sitting in front of the steering wheels, you have to turn a corner differently than in a car that when the wheels are out in front of you. You have to know when to turn or you hit curbs. So, yeah, driving a Volkswagen van would have been, all that way would have been an experience, especially on the roads with potholes and all kinds of stuff. It would have been an experience, and we would have been live most of the way back. But that didn't work out. He didn't tell me why he didn't want to do the deal. He just says he didn't want to do the deal. And even when I asked, he didn't answer me. So I don't know what happened to him.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Smith says your legs and feet are the first thing on to the crashing.
Yeah, but it's got some kind of protection up there. And hopefully you're not driving, or whoever hits you doesn't hit you head on at 60 miles an hour.
Business says, what's the last thing to go through your mind? Kev, you're a hole.
You're a hole.
You're a hole.
That's a joke about a bug hitting the windshield, Pitts Night.
Hmm?
That's when a bug hits the windshield. The last
Oh.
thing to go through their mind.
Oh, okay. It's like, what?
Yep.
Are we still going with the dad jokes? I only have one
I'm just
dad
correct.
joke.
I'm just correcting it.
I only have one dad joke.
What?
Why does a chicken coop only has two doors?
I'll let them answer. Everybody knows this one. They are car people.
But you already heard it because I've told it a couple times.
Yes. Because if it had four doors, it'd be a chicken sedan.
Yeah. Business says, or a bug hitting a truck.
Yep.
Someone says, Alpine
Pretty
stereo.
close. Pretty close. A lot of Alpine stereo. I found like the last three cars I looked at, they all had Alpine stereos in it. I don't know if that they're still selling stereos and they're just from the 80s or something, but I don't know. I dare you to come at me.
Business says, there are levels to my joke spec. Catch up, bro. Kevin Smith says, some days you're the windshield. Will Drill says, that's the 1990s Chevy steering wheel. Doesn't belong in that 60s Chevy truck. Hate to say it.
No, you're right, but people put on whatever they have. Maybe the original steering wheel was so bad they couldn't drive it with it. But we have so many of those OBS trucks here. They just went to the junkyard, got a steering wheel that worked, and threw it on there. They don't care about originality or anything. This is an interesting little car, that a 1963 Datsun Bluebird, which most people don't even know about. Nobody paid much attention to Datsun before the 68 Datsun 510. Then Datsun went crazy. Exactly, Dan. 30 years ago. Now that's all I see in these cars. Oh, it has an Alpine this and it has an Alpine that. And when they say it has this equipment and this kind of stereo and this kind of speaker and this and that, I don't understand any of that, because if it doesn't have an AM radio, I don't care. I don't turn it on anyway.
Chris Sanders is here.
Hey, Chris, welcome. Read Dennis's.
Then it says, how are the junkyards in Mexico? Many classics?
Unfortunately, no. Some years ago, when the price of metal went up, there was a junkyard here right across the highway here, and they had hundreds of old cars. They were Fox body Mustangs, there were old Mopars, there were all kinds of stuff. And when the price went up, they crushed them all, got rid of them all.
The
It was
price,
it was a gold mine of parts.
what the price went up
Yeah,
of?
metal,
Um,
the steel. So they crushed them all and sold them all, and oh my god, the parts are all gone. I bought some parts out of there before they did that. Was able to make money on them, but man, we lost a lot of good stuff there.
This time says, there are moments when this daddy nerve just won't stop vibrating. I'm gonna make me a sandwich.
Sandwich, coffee, and alcohol.
I can relate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1963, and it looks like somebody's just getting done with upholstery and all kinds of stuff. The price did not seem out of place on this thing. I can't remember what it is, but there was not a 4 or 5 in front of it. Plus, there's custom paint on the side, kind of like a lowrider without it being a lowrider.
What? The Wilder says, damn, I hate hearing stories like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no old cars in the junkyards around here. So every part that I need that I can't buy online, I have to go physically look for it.
Kevin Smith says, blasphemy crushing cars.
Yeah, but people don't care about that.
Chris Knife says, my bad, Will, all is well. Dan says, small block.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely a Mexican truck. We'll get to the reason why soon. Kind of interesting they painted the trim on the grill.
You did the same thing to the dart.
That I only painted black and silver. This is why it's a Mexican truck. This was the bed in Mexico. Nice looking truck though. I think it's a 68, 69, I think. Or maybe a 68 and they put the 69 grill in it.
Believe says, what do you get when you mix alcohol and literature? Tequila Mockingbird. Dan says, Mexican tailgate.
The whole bed. Did you notice the rear fender wells look like fender skirts? They're down low above over the wheels. They're not the big round ones like the US models were.
Believe says, nice truck there. Tabo's here.
Hey Tavo,
Hi, Tabo.
thanks for joining us. How are you feeling tonight? Today? I don't know what time it is over there.
Chris Sanders says, I need the front corner turn signal lenses for my Lincoln. Can't find them anywhere.
What Lincoln is it?
Will it,
Wait, let me guess. Early 80s Lincoln Mark V.
okay. Well, the trail says, hopefully somewhere in Mexico there's a big warehouse stuff with full of old Mexican cars, well preserved. There's plenty of those stories here in the States.
They're not sitting around. They're in people's driveways. I publish them all the time. All of these dusters that I publish, they're still riding on their original wheels and wheel covers and the original upholstery and the original engine. Nobody has messed with them. So yeah, they're around still with nice paint and everything.
Um, Pitsnife says, I like it. The back grill should be black. It creates depth. Granddad says, Tower Brother, how's it going over the ditch? Dan says, similar to the 60 to 66 trucks.
They had the fender well that low.
Tabo says, no me siento muy bien hoy, así que solo vengo a hacer una visita rápida. I'm really sorry, Tabo.
Yeah.
I hope you feel better. Tabo says it's 3:50 afternoon.
Okay. So you're right in the middle of the heat.
Kevin says cool truck. Dan says 68 Dart.
Yes, it is with 74 wheel covers, which need to go because it throws me off.
Is that a Lawndale or is that part of the? Is that a horse thing or?
That it's a Landau bow that somebody put on there.
Yeah, Lawndale. Kevin says cool truck. Dan says 68 Dart. Josh Homan says looks like a sharp truck. Chris says it's the 84 Lincoln Town Car with the front end from the 89, so I need the 89 lenses.
You can't find any on eBay. Somebody should be selling those because those didn't fall off as much as the early 80s town cars and Mark Fives. I mean, almost every one of them that I saw when they were 10 years old were missing the lenses. They fell off constantly. And nobody was making them, so there was nowhere to get them. But the 89s, which were a 1 year body, 1 year style on that lens because it had a little bit of amber in there, or it was amber. Yeah, you should be able to find those on because it will fit from was it 86 to 89 is the same lens. 85 to 89 is the same lens. You can if you don't mind the different color,
It always
it'll fit on there.
sorry. It always surprises me how much information you have in your brain of cars.
Well, my family was a Ford family, so we had the 88 town car, and then 89 was the next year. They changed the panel in the back and they changed the front turn signals to a different color. Same exact car, but they had to change a little trim. And then I know it started in 85 because it had no third brake light. But remember, I was buying cars at the dealer auctions there, so I would see all the different cars that come through. So you have to be able to identify them with of what they are.
Sorry. Steven Andrews says, will Sunday night live streams be a regular thing?
We're talking about it, and the only reason we're doing this, and this is selfish of me, is because I'm working on my view hours to get up to where I could. Well, I'm like halfway to the 3,000 hours to be able to accept, you know,
Monetize the channel.
yeah, not monetize for the ads, but for somebody to send a super chat or something. I want to get on the way. That's why we do the lives on the highways and stuff because when we came down from the border, we were live for 6 hours, well, all the way back, almost all the way back on that live, and yeah, that we took you with us on the highway, and it made the trip a lot shorter for us. So it was nice, but those were watch hours that count towards going to monetization. Because when I publish a video, if I get 1,000 views on a video, that's a lot for me. I don't know. I guess I'm not in the algorithm or whatever, but some videos are doing 60 views that I do. The long videos, the shorts are doing more, but I'm not sure if those are counting towards my view hours because there's a different counter for the shorts, and you need like 3 million views on the shorts to get monetized, and that ain't gonna happen for me.
Mm.
Nobody wants to see these that much. So we're talking about how we're gonna do it, but we may not be on here next week because we're probably gonna be really tired from our trip. Delivering the vehicle.
Yeah, either Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, we're gonna be out on the road.
Kevin says, for family of fine cars. Who remembers that?
Of course.
Chris Sanders says, everyone I find is all cracked up and looks like crap. And you're correct. On the year 99 was the amber year.
Yeah. They had to make it look different.
Josh Homan says, seats don't look too bad.
No, it's a pretty decent car. I grew up in the back seat of a two-door hardtop of one of those, so I'm very partial to the 68 Galaxy line of cars. It's just weird for me to see the interior in anything but black. The dashboard is black, the seats black. It's really weird for me.
Chris Knife says, Spec's encyclopedia is expansive. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it says.
I know more about American cars than I do Mexican cars because I had
And
most of them.
Dan Eboyd says Automex.
Yep,
Kevin
absolutely.
says, sorry. Kevin says, Chris, make a mold and cast it in resin. Dan says, Gulfstream Aqua. Chris Sanders says to Kevin Smith, I thought about trying to make them out of plexiglass or something. Kevin says 68 Ford.
Yep.
Tavo says Dodge Dart Deluxo Brasileño 75 en venta en Australia. 318, 4 velocidades, 45,000 pesos australianos en muy buen estado.
And those are dollars. So that's probably what, like 30,000 US dollars, somewhere around there, Tavo. That's a lot of money for a Dart. That's a lot of money for a Super B.
Kevin says use clear resin. It's fairly cheap price for resin. Dan says small block. Steven Andrews says I'm sure more than a few of us on the Dodge Garage live stream will carry over. I have to get up in 8 hours though. Good night.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, Steve.
Thanks for hanging out.
Chris Snipe Husker says I'm poor. I dumped my Folgers can full of change for 40 tonight and bought a sandwich, vodka, and my antidepressants. Life's been good to me so far.
Well, the vodka is an antidepressant. Oh no, the vodka is a depressant, and then you bought antidepressants too.
Believe says I'm addicted to brake fluid, but it's okay because I can stop at any time.
That's good. Very good.
Patrick says anything in a boneyard from the 80s is a tough call around here. Keep in mind, I live in the land of salt.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some Lincolns in California that still have those. Somebody parting one out. Look on Facebook to see if anybody's parting them out in a dry state. That'll send them to you. Not Arizona, because the sun will already have destroyed them.
Bisnive says that's worse, believe. Tavo says I know little about American cars, and too many people ask me what the difference is between American cars, between Australian and US spec cars.
Because you're supposed to know all about the American car so you can compare and contrast. I have two 63 Plymouths in the backyard. One is American, one is Mexican, so I have them right next to each other. So I know I can see the actual differences in how they were made and everything else. So it was a lot easier for me to compare them.
Kevin says believe I wouldn't want to be your toilet. Bisnive says yeah, I'm a puzzle spec. Granda says that's it, the Toyota Corolla.
Granddad, that's a Datsun 510 wagon. Although it was called something different here, it's a Datsun 510. And for some reason, I really like the bright red interior in these vehicles. You open the door of a white car and the red just jumps out at you and slaps you in the face. That's good. I like that. Nothing boring about the interior of this car. And they did the door panels, they did everything, so it's all matching.
It looks nice.
It does. The outside could use some work though. But we do have a good paint shop here, so you can make that thing look brand new. That's in Guadalajara. I think I published this one before and talked to the guy, and then it disappears for a while and then it comes back. So
Believe says to Kevin, the name is Toto. Heated seat Toto. What?
coming at me when I don't have the zapper in my hand.
That was says that soon 16,000 outside
1600.
of 1,600 outside of the US.
Yeah, that's what it's called here too, or a 160J or something like that. But it's mostly known as a Datsun 510. Look, no reverse lights. Whoa, bright yellow. This one's gonna jump out at you too with the painted bumpers and grill surround. Everything's yellow.
It's nice says I can smell that interior from here.
It's vinyl. Can you smell it in the summertime? Gets a lot hotter in the summertime.
Kevin says cool interior. Chris Sanders says that what would you do with a horrible cracked up half vinyl top to fix it for cheap?
Take it off and sand the area and paint it the either crinkle paint or the bed liner. But it is a Lincoln, so you may want to just paint the whole roof the same color, being a Lincoln.
Kevin Smith says I will have a blast painting that little car. Billy says that's a Tex-Mex paint job right there.
It's made to call out to you.
Kevin says now that's fugly.
It's very interesting that you take a plain white vehicle and you put some stickers on the side that are like three different colors, and all of a sudden it changes the whole personality of the vehicle. So it's nice.
Business says, yep, that smell, but so pretty. Our brains associate the cancer fumes with something glorious.
It's probably not cancerous, or not too much anyway. If you drive it to California, it probably would be. This car here, you guys noticed that it said Falcon on the back of this car, and this is a Falcon. I wouldn't call it a Falcon Maverick, but they left the Falcon emblems on him, so people would know it was the continuation of the Falcon. And this being 1970, it has a 289 in it and a 4-speed, maybe a 3-speed. When Mrs. Spec and I get back from this trip, there's a Maverick here in town. It's a Mexican Maverick. It's a 1974 model in dark green. It's got a 302 under the hood, and somebody put a 5-speed manual transmission in it.
I like that.
And I questioned. I said, "Is it a 4-speed with a reverse?" She says, "No, it is a 5-speed transmission, 5-speed forward gears." I said, "Oh, that's going to be interesting."
I like that. That color.
Yeah.
Believe says to Pit Snipe, the scent of new vinyl is divine. Josh says that truck looks crazy. Barracuda says I dislike painted bumpers. Kevin Smith says how many miles on the Datsun and price?
On the miles, it has all of them, and I don't remember the price on that, but it's not outrageous. Not outrageous on that one because I mean it does need a decent set of wheels and it does need some cleanup on it. Probably a buff job. They all need buff jobs.
Dan says Caribbean blue. Sabo says, you know why a woman dressed in leather makes a man's heart race? And he begins thinking irrationally.
Is that a riddle?
I don't know. Dan says Maverick replaced the Falcon here.
Yes, it did here too. But they wanted to ease the transition, so they put, for the first 2 years, they put the Falcon emblem on the back of the Maverick so people can make a connection to the previous car.
Kevin says, how much for the Falcon?
What Falcon? The Maverick? I didn't get prices on these, Kevin. I'd have to do some calculation and go find where they're published.
It now says, if everything might give you cancer, then nothing can definitely be attributed to giving our folks cancer. It's a conundrum.
Well, you can't live like people in California. Oh, well, this is gonna everything gives you cancer, so I can't have anything in my house. You can't live like that, so you just have to do what you have to do.
Kevin says, I like that Falcon. Granda says, Tao is that with whips and chains. Dean said, oh, Dean said it this here.
Hey, Dean.
Hey, Dean. There's 5.5 people because that 0.5 Kiwi guy is here too. Granda's Young says, Dean, brother, how's it going? That was she smells like a new car. Oh, so he says, you know why a woman dressed in leather makes a man's heart race and he begins thinking irrationally? She smells like a new car. Barracuda says, it's nothing smutty, is it, Tao? Dean Stevenson says, of course, Tao. Kevin says, do you know where you been all my life? Dean says, I was fast asleep after a 4 a.m. start earlier today.
On a Sunday? Oh, sorry, you're in Monday. Never mind.
Face Knife says, Tutavo, don't read this. Oh, wait. I don't know what that means. Kevin says, now you're fast. I don't know what that means. Face Knife says, crave the beef. Kevin? I don't know. Then Dean says, an nap, Kevin.
I was watching a video and there were two cars in it. It was a guy that goes around in Mexico City and records cars that are just parked on the street, and he had the owner's um, permission to open the cars. One was a 72 Chrysler Super B that the guy had modified and put all kinds of garbage on it, like the Super B emblem from the 1980 Super B. And I mean, the car just looked horrible. Bright yellow. He put a fin on the back. He put stuff under the front bumper. Anyway, the important one was what he said was a 1968 Pontiac Trans Am convertible that is in Mexico. So I did a Google search, and he also did a Google search he talked to me afterwards. They were eight were made in 1969. All of them are accounted for in the United States, but he's still saying that this is originally a 69 Trans Am convertible sitting here in Mexico. 68, 69, Dan, not 68, 69. And he went all over the car. The guy had modified this one too and put all kinds of stuff on it. And oh my God, it looked horrible. He put the 78 Trans Am chicken on the hood and all kinds of stuff on it to make it look horrible. But there's no way that could be a real car. And the guy says that he checked the VIN, but the VIN's not going to tell you anything because it just tells you it's a Firebird. But he says he looked at some numbers or whatever, and yes, it's a real 1968 Trans Am. And there's no way it could be. Only 8 of them were made, and people in the U.S. know where all 8 of them are sitting. So how could that one be one?
Mm, Kevin Smith says, NyQuil is kicking in.
Yeah, we can tell.
Kevin, are you okay? Call it down. Dan says, no, 68 Trans Am. Pisnam says, quick, slam a Mountain Dew, Kev. Dean says, you get used to after a while, Barracuda, after it's 6 a.m. Dan says, 69 all came with blue stripes, even if you order a red interior.
Yes, this one, the guy showed a picture from 20 years ago. It was red, a red car, and then he painted it a darker red and did all this horrible stuff to it. But the guy did all kinds of customization on it, and on both cars where the HVAC controls would be, or heater control, he bolted um, a thing to the dash that had 3 gauges in it. And I'm looking at all this customization that he did, and right under that in the '69 Pontiac was the original radio. No, it was in the Super B. The original radio was in the car when he did paint and he did interior, and he molded things to the car like the air vents on the fenders of the 78 Trans Am. He molded that into the fender of the 69 and all these things. And all this customization, and the original AM radio is still in the dash. He didn't do anything with a radio.
Which is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. That's usually the first thing Mexicans do is put a loud stereo system, and then they do the rest of it. But it was so weird to see. I mean, all of this unnecessary work that he did. It's not he didn't just bolt things on. He molded these parts into the body and then painted the car. Oh geez. But there's no way it could be a real Trans Am. It's not possible. It's just not possible.
Dean says, it's an F body with 68 parts. He's asking.
No, it's a 69. It's a 69 Pontiac Firebird.
Patrick says, now that is a loud color. Chris says, I found a set of chrome bench shades in the junkyard for my Lincoln. The rubber is all hard around the windows, so I just welded them to the doors. Lol.
Well, if you soak the rubber, it comes back, doesn't it? Soak it in. I'm sure there's something.
I don't know. Kevin says, I'm in bed, can't get up with flu, it's kicking my ass. This flu kicking my ass.
Isn't the Nyquil making you tired?
Both.
I wish we had Nyquil here. I'd keep it in my bedroom. Dreams are great on Nyquil. Dreams are great.
Dean says, Mr. GDT, it is nice to see you. Granda's junk, almost as handsome as Kevin Shrinky Smith's Ferrari. Listener says, hydrate Kev, then go night night. Getting up to pee will keep you alive. Trust me. I'm pre-med.
Pre-med.
Listener says the junkyard just made a whole week.
Did you say junkyard?
He says junkyard.
Did you say junkyard? That's what he's saying. He said you said junkyard.
Yunk? I don't know, man. Dean says, Kevin, if you don't open your mouth, how can influenza fly in? Granddad says, Dean, I'm one of a kind, complete with one tooth. Kevin says, should wear a diaper, that depends.
And Kevin, I'm sure you know the name is Depend. Is it Depends over there? It's Depend here. They don't have the S. Just like Vicks Vapor Rub is Vic here. They didn't put the S on it here.
Dan says, when I get the flu, I'm ready to lay back down before I'm done pissing.
You can hit your head on the bowl and that hurts.
Dan says, too red. Pesner says, I heard it. I'm sorry.
Could be red or down.
Kevin says, not getting up ever.
That's not a good thing.
Dean says, that's just how we like you. Nothing a slice of beef jerky cannot fortify.
This is a 6-pack car, 440 6-pack car. And they only want $1.5 million for it.
Only?
Somewhere around there, yeah. But nobody wants the what is it, a Barracuda? Sorry, nobody wants a Barracuda with the round tail lights, do they?
Kevin says, depends. Is a box stand for Biden? Wait.
Chris asked the question.
Yeah. Hold on. Chris says, what octane gas do y'all use there?
We use 87 and 89. That's the highest we have here is 89 octane. There isn't other stations with other octanes. That's it. That's all you can find here.
Dan says GMPS pump on this CUDA. Dean says yes, depends. It freaks when it leaks. Dean says trousers with a fixer inside a nice liner. Dan says I take a CUDA with the round tails. Christian says, who took my pants? I don't know.
I saw it when I was looking for the cars. There were 3 different Barracudas that I could have put on there, but the red one looked pretty good. Plus, it has the 440 6-pack under the hood. That has to be a valuable car because $1.5 million pesos is like $80,000 or so, 80 or $90,000, somewhere around there.
Dean says, is that a question or a statement, Kevin? Kevin says, not my pants, officer. That was our lowest is 91 octane, but it's a different rating system. Run.
Kevin, are you typing in your comments or are you using voice? Just curious.
Dan says, my dad's brother also had a Volkswagen thing.
This is an early one though. This is a 71 model which has the small tail lights on it. I think these are reproduction lenses though with the amber turn signals. I'm not sure if it has the wiring for the amber turn signals because they didn't here. But yeah, this is an early one and it looks to be in pretty decent condition. I have clients asking me for them, but I don't know. I haven't gotten around to sending them a list of anything yet.
Brenda says NPD has 100 octane here.
Okay, so the 91 octane that Tavo has is equal to 87 in the US, which is 87 in the US
Why are you
here.
stealing my information?
Keep going.
No. Are
Yeah.
you gonna read the messages or am I?
You're gonna let it get away from you.
Are you gonna read the messages or am I?
You are.
Then stop reading my messages.
Well, then read them.
I was. And you stole it from me. Kevin says typing not waking the warden.
Okay, well that's then I don't know what the word is, but I'm surprised you are typing so correctly or using spell check. Since you've taken so much NyQuil, I'm surprised your fingers are hitting the letters you want to hit.
Dan says things didn't come to USA until the thing didn't come to the USA until the 1975 or so.
They were sold in the US 1973 and 1974 model year, Dan. That was it, only 2 years. But they were all made in Mexico. They were sold in Mexico from 1970 to 1980. So 10 years or 11 years, something like that.
FaceTime says busted. Sorry y'all, I'm a bot. Uno's here. Hi
Hey,
Uno.
Uno.
How are you? And they say
It's late, Uno.
mucho sorpreso. Sorpresa. Dean says we used to have an earlier standard gasoline until 1978 when it changed. Standard wasn't common in Australia after that date.
Standard changed to Chevron.
Um,
Standard is Chevron, Dan. It's got the same logo.
Dan says Standard Oil became British Petroleum here.
Well, British Petroleum must have bought Chevron then.
Dean says Kevin gets better when he's badder, just like Kimbergini.
We won't bring that up.
Kevin Smith says typing TUI. And Pesna says that was pure platinum for Miss Anna Impression Library. World of Woodchip says love you guys, but it's time to switch to smooth jazz and the Weather Channel.
That sounds good, World of Woodchip. Have a nice evening.
Night. Chris Anders says I also have an 81 Chevette with a 1.6 liter and the 3-speed auto. It's a big project.
Well, it's a small project, a small car, but are you going to put a stick shift in it? Please say yes.
Dean says no. Standard grade was 83 octane.
Oh, you're talking about the standard gas, not the standard gas station.
Kevin Smith says typing UDA in flu and is that better?
I didn't mean for you to start typing things we don't understand.
Dean says my uncle worked for Standard Oil. Nice try. Tavo says that is quite luxurious compared to our country buggy. It even has doors.
Yes, it does. Now, I want you guys to tell me what color this combi is. Is it red or is it orange?
It's orange.
See, it looks red to me. It looked red on Saturday because this has orange plaid interior.
That the TV is showing it a different color. It's orange.
Okay, when the picture comes up for the interior, I want to see the combination.
Dean says of wood chip you can't leave me this way. World wood chip you can't leave me this way. Uno says sí, mi siesta grande. Joshua Man says I don't think BP bought Chevron. I do know that Chevron bought Texaco.
See, look, when the picture comes up with that shows the interior, the orange, that is orange, and it does not go. It clashes with this color. The interior does not go with the exterior color. Or am I wrong?
Tabo saying orange. Dean Stevens says saying red Dorancho. Josh Homan says looks red.
See that?
Grant
See that picture? Look at the picture right there. That is very orange on the interior, and that's a very red rear end.
it's
That doesn't
different.
look orange at all there.
It's different types of oranges. Different
But
tones
it
of orange.
clashes. It
It's different tones.
it's like putting pink and red together.
Well, tell them. But Kevin says it looks like Omaha orange. Krishna Husker says y'all ain't lived until all 30 crayon eaters of your staff can do their own version of an impression of your wife. It's brutal.
I think he's had more drinks than just one.
Mm. Kevin says Roadway Express was Omaha orange.
I don't know what that is either.
I'm assuming it's a train. Chris says I'd love to put a stick in it. Maybe one day I'll fin
Find.
find the Saginaw 4-speed that would fit. Hard to find. Lol, it's a small project. Chris
I had a lot of Chevettes, but I bought them to sell them, and people did buy them, but it's not a car that I would want to drive around in.
Chris says red. Dean Stevenson says Tango Velero. Davo says exterior looks like our Valiant Hemi Orange. Seats looks like our Valiant Vitamin C.
But am I right that the colors don't go together? You open the door and the interior color clashes with the outside.
I guess. Davo says both pacer colors. Barracuda says orange. Chris Knife says, well, I'm making my second drink, but shots do happen.
But you don't count them as a drink. Look at that tail light there, it just kind of droops like that.
Mm.
The right tail light on this car looks like it droops a little bit, but it's hard to tell. I like these early plain AMCs that just have, your three on the tree, your inline six, and no options or anything on it. This brown Dodge Dart here has the Mexican roof on it, but it has an American speedometer. It has a V8 under the hood with air conditioning, which is something a Mexican car didn't have. I mean, it could have had a V8, but the air conditioning never. So I don't know what this car is. I don't know if somebody built this and it's a Mexican car and put the US speedometer in it, or well, they couldn't really have put the roof on it, but it's definitely a Mexican roof. Definitely.
That looks like my grandpa's car. My grandpa used to have one of those.
Yeah. I'd love to have this car. Automatic air conditioning, V8 under the hood, and the Mexican rear roof. That's the perfect combination.
Kevin says Roadway Express was the biggest trucking company for years.
Oh, okay. Did it say roadway on the side? Weren't the boxes silver with black lettering?
What did you say they were red?
That's why I asked.
Dean says, see, and Tavo was trying to say he was impaired. The worse his situation, the more accurate he is. Tavo says contrasting interiors always look good. That van should have an off-white.
Yeah, but there's some colors you just don't put together. I mean, we are in Mexico, so that explains it, but still.
Patrick says sail panels.
Yeah, the sail panels.
Tavo says the sail panels extensions were made as a spare part. Maybe they were added and a new vinyl top put on.
I don't know where anybody here in Mexico would find sail panels for a Dart unless they cut them off another car. But nobody would do that kind of work to a car like that. I mean, it's not a restored car.
Kevin says looks similar to Del Campo set sled.
Except it's a two-door. And like I was showing Mrs. Spec on my car, because it's the same year as my Dart, the trunk lid kind of has an angle on it where it would not look good for a tailgate compared to what the 72 trunk lid looked like on Buff's car. That made a nice tailgate. This one would not. It would look really weird. Did it go to 200, John? No, Josh?
Stop it!
Did I miss something? Because I've seen that car before, and I could have sworn it had a U.S. speedometer up to 120.
I don't know. You want to see it again?
Yeah, I want to. Did they even show it? Did they show the speedometer?
I thought you said it was an American speedometer, so
That's what I thought.
was
Yeah,
that
it
it?
went. Yeah, it went up to 120. Nope, put it back and put a stop on it. See, it only goes up to 120, Josh, and that's miles per hour. It would go up to 180 or so if it was kilometers per hour. So yeah,
Uh,
it's a U.S. speedometer with a Mexican roof and a V8 with air under the hood. So I don't know what to make of this car.
Dean says rolling in the rubber hood, all right. Sisters on the ground makes Gandalf's junk. Dean says Barracuda Jose. Josh Roman says speedometer goes to 200. It's a Mexican car. Barracuda says I remember years ago seeing that roof on an Australian Valiant hardtop. I thought it looked horrible. I'm still not keen.
Well, it looks kind of like the 69 Dodge Charger, and that's the car everybody likes. So you have to like the Dart too with it. You can't be prejudiced against the Darts.
Kevin says he was referring to the Target, I think. I don't know about the set sled. Christina says everyone hit that like button. Thank you, Chris. Dean says you could Durango it, Fairmont Durango, and cut the whole back end at 10 degrees and have it swing down.
I would never cut up a car, Dean, nor would I sell a car to anybody that would cut up a car. I know you're not going to cut up the Fox Body Mustang, so everything's fine there. And if you look at it, I think this car has over a half a tank of gas. So that's a reason to buy it.
Okay. Um, that was the Barracuda. Of those Mexicana options produced, only available on Regal 77.
200 of those Mexican.
Oh, sorry, there was numbers, so I
Yeah.
thought, yeah. 200 of those Mexicana options produced, only available on Regal 770. Barracuda says, do you like that roof towel? Dean says to Kevin, thanks for elaborating. I want to play it.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least the brake light where the oil was that the oil light? That's not a good sign. The oil light's on. I don't know if it's running or not.
Double says, I don't mind it, Barry. Wouldn't go out of my way to find one though. Kevin says, this NyQuil sucks. Maybe I should drink the other half. I only see two TVs.
Don't do that, Kevin. Just close your eyes, put the phone down, and sleep will come. And hopefully you'll wake up in the morning.
Stop it.
Well, he may sleep the whole day. He took a half a bottle of NyQuil.
Fair.
And if your body needs the rest, you will get the rest. No, this was not prescription advice. I don't give any advice. Unless I do. But you decide to take it, you're all adults. If this one was green, it might be a military type style. They blacked out the wheel covers, blacked everything out, then painted the Volkswagen in the middle of the wheel cover.
Dean says, Mexican Spectre is such an optimist.
Not always, Dean.
Kevin says, hopefully.
I don't know what color I like on the Volkswagen Safaris. I think maybe the orange or the yellow as the better colors. They'll see you and people get out of your way because they know your brakes don't work really well. But I just don't know how somebody could daily drive something like this, even in California. But they did for years and years. They were daily drivers. And again, this has the Type 1 engine in it because that's the only engine they used in that factory.
Patrick says, better of a stiff mixed drink or better yet shot. I don't think you should mix alcohol with NyQuil.
No, he can sleep it off, and if he's still not better, take the next step.
Kevin says, I never sleep till at least 5 or 6 a.m. with this back thing.
The NyQuil may have something to say about that, Kevin.
Chris says, my 93 Sonoma is green. Looks kind of similar. Kind of military, sorry.
Was that the original color for it, Chris? Or did somebody paint it that color?
Dean says, Mexican Spectre, my glass is 90 millimeters full. Sorry.
So you're saying it's half full? Are you an optimist or are you a pessimist? I guess you're saying it's full, so you're an optimist.
Milliliters?
Milliliters.
No.
Oh, maybe he didn't add all the letters. And he just gave up in the next one, just put MLS.
Dean says, a standard drink should always be 100 milliliters and
180, it says.
180. Yes, 180 milliliters and schnapps sticks. Dean says, no, you said that, Mexican Spectre.
I didn't say anything.
Kevin says, headlight visor looks sharp on the bug.
There's a lot of accessories that you could get. You just got to find quality stuff. Most of the stuff that we bought for my clients, VW Beetle, was horrible garbage that you would not want on it. You know, the handles for the seats and the glove box lock and all these little things that the car was missing. It's just really bad quality stuff.
Patrick says to Kevin, 100% relate to the back thing. Kevin says, unbearable, Patrick. Bisnav says, so I had this special female friend, and she asked me to look at her 16-year-old son's Fox body project. His toddler had somehow squeezed a 460 into that 84 Mustang, not elegantly.
No, jeez. And what did you tell him, Pitt? You tell him, call me when you take that engine out?
Dean says schnapps is a broad term for strong spirits, often fruit flavored liqueurs or distilled fruit brandies.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says the first owner had it painted. I'm the second owner. It's got 89,000 miles on it. Paid for 150,000, 4,500.
That's not a bad price for a truck that'll last the rest of your life.
Kevin says I don't ever drink alcohol. You just did, darling.
You did tonight. Sure did.
Dean says not stolen from AI. It's only 15% accurate. Kevin says I had LTD just like that one.
You're not talking about the one that you redid, are you? Because that was a mid-size LTD, and this is a full size. This is a Streets of San Francisco car. But I find it amazing what people ask for these here. 200,000, 300,000 pesos for a Ford LTD. We're not Brazil. Where do they get off asking for that kind of money?
Dean says you look even cooler in that car, Kevin. Chris says, man, I like Ford there.
Look at the seat, though. So comfortable. Drive across country in that thing. So nice.
Dean says, wait, you're not an optimist?
Who? I have to be. I have no choice.
Didn't you say not always?
Yeah, not always.
Barracuda says 10 grand and a case of apricot brandy. Pitsnap says he was so proud of the radiator fan that he'd got down to nothing with an angle grinder. I couldn't hurt his feelings, Spec. I didn't know where to start. Uh, there were there were chains for mounts involved.
So it wouldn't lift up out of the car. So did you ask him any questions like, what are you going to do with this? Who gave you this idea? Please go slap that person. Something.
Kevin says no, it was just like that. I had many LTDs.
Mm, okay.
Dean says full size, medium size. How dare you? Next, you'll call it an elite.
Well, his car was an elite, but he's talking about another one. I had the station wagon version of this like 10 years ago. A little bit more than that. Had like 30,000 kilometers on it. It was a white station wagon, country sedan, 1973 model. Very, very, very nice car. But no factory heater, which is kind of difficult in the wintertime.
Uh, Kevin said color is far Miss Metallic on that LTD. Fitznight says he didn't die, Spec. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that is all that matters. But who thinks to put a 460 in a Fox body Mustang so the front bumper is sitting on the ground, you can't go anywhere? I mean, geez.
Kevin says nice car.
You know, Kevin, when I have like one of those LTDs, if I have the station wagon, I want a car. If I have one of the cars, I want a station wagon. That's I'm just never happy with the one that I have. They are beautiful driving cars
And
though.
that's why you ended up with 100 cars at one point.
Exactly, because I never sold any. I just wanted something different. I was saving them.
Jay Wise is here.
Hey Jay, thanks for joining us. I know it's late, although you're in Posada now, so it's 1 hour earlier for you.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock over there.
Danny's wondering why you're not in bed yet.
You waiting for me, Danny? Well, you wait a little longer because we still have to take the trash out.
Mm-hmm. Krishna says, oh man, he wanted it more than he thought about it, Spec. And we were there, don't judge, though. Kevin says, Polar fine Corinthian leather.
I don't think it has any leather. We don't. I don't think that was. The only reason I put this in here is because it has the factory floor shift manual, which means you could take the 225 out and put a V8 in there and have a really nice sleeper. This car would be a great sleeper.
Chris says, out of all the cars, I love my Lincoln the most. It's such a treat to drive, and it aged slow.
Yeah, that was our family cars. Our family had a 1988 Lincoln Town Car, dark blue, white fake convertible top on it. And then when my parents bought a house in Vegas, the Vegas car was an 87 Crown Victoria, which was white with the dark blue interior. So they were a reverse of each other. They were backwards from each other, but basically the exact same car.
Dean says the 460 was a designed fitment during concept study. It does fit the stock 4-barrel motorcraft and cast headers. The 404 also fits.
Yeah, but it's a very heavy engine in the front of that car.
JY says, do you have a dream car?
Me? I guess he's asking me.
Yeah.
The only dream car I have is a Lincoln Mark II. Okay, sorry, never. A Continental Mark II. But I would never buy one because I wouldn't want to drive it on the streets here. But they're I would just like to look at it, just sitting in my house and look at it.
Dean says, and a Mexican spec Fox Mustang J.
We're working on that, Dean.
World of Butcher says, came back going to mute this tab and let it play in the background while I go to sleep so you can get some watch time. I owe a debt of gratitude to Tony's mods for boosting my channel in the beginning.
Oh, I appreciate that, World of Wood Chip.
Thank you. Kevin says, love the clown cars. Dean says, Tony's mods are great. Wonderful chip. Game Fix Existence is here.
Hi, Kim. How are you tonight? I hope you're not working this late.
Mr. Spec was telling me that Kim Fixes Things and Kim Virginie is the same alias, and I just found out.
Well, Dean is the only one that calls her that.
No, but there was another channel that was also Kim.
Oh yeah, the other yeah, she was in here under a different channel name. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was her too.
and you made me say hi to her as well twice.
I didn't know that.
You did too.
I didn't know.
Uh-huh. Bizknife says Spec's first vehicle was a kickstart Maytag washer on a pallet jack.
Well, Mrs. Speck knows what my first car is because it's sitting in the backyard and it's registered to her.
Yep. Kim says just finished some editing and noticed you are doing a late live.
Yeah, we're just playing around here, Kim.
Kevin says Lincoln Mark II. You parked that in living room?
Not Lincoln Mark II, Kevin. Continental Mark II from 1956 or 1957. It didn't have a Lincoln name on it. It was its own brand. Gorgeous car though.
Barracuda says, what are other people's dream car?
And you know that, Kevin, because you watch Scott's channel, and even though he hasn't had it on the channel for a while, they're trying to make his friend's Mark II usable again, which I think is a huge ask to restore one of those cars. They were unique. Everything about it was unique. Absolutely everything. What are other people's dream cars? Dean Stevenson. That's why you can add the Ford Motorsports B-type springs. Ford Engineering did all the homework before Lee Iacocca got fired. Okay, Dean, but do you think that kid actually did that? I don't think so. Kevin says, my dream is in a Tri-5 T-Bird. Patrick, 61 Impala, Barry. Bubble top. Dean says, welcome, Kimbergini. We hope you're doing even more awesome. You never know who lived as you. You never know who lived you is. Who lived you is.
What?
Jay, do you like movie Dangerous Minds? Cool story on American Mexicans. I don't think I've ever seen it. Pitt, it's absurdly awesome that you are that dude that did not sell off his first car. I didn't like selling any cars. The car had it since 1982. Sorry, I've had her since 1982. Yeah, all the cool kids are hanging out. Thanks for all the welcome. Granddad's junk. My wife's dream car is VG or VE Valiant. Her CL Regals are close. Dean Stevenson. Spelling error. Loved you is. Dang Erksrich and spell checkers. J. I love the Yugo and Ford Pinto. Yeah, the Ford Pinto is my favorite car. Don't tell my Fury. But I can do without the Yugo. Barry says Mark 1 Ford GT40. Barry, are you kind of a small man? Because you would need to be to get into that car. Kevin Smith. Greg Biffle had just bought a 69-ish Lincoln Mark III. That would be a Lincoln Mark III. I had one of those too. Tavo, my dream car at the moment is anything self-driving so I can go places on my own. But there's no such thing, Tavo, that is really self-driving. Dean says, a Fox Mustang for Mexican Spectre with hidden Dean mods afterwards. What would you do to the Mustang, Dean? Barry wants a 64 Thunderbolt. It is a dream after all.
You know which one I really like? The little, I think it was a Jaguar hearse from your movie.
Oh. You want an XKE Jaguar hearse?
Yes.
That would be very, very, very expensive.
Yes. But it was beautiful.
Read Jay's comment so I can answer it so I don't step on your toes.
JY says, "What do you think about those crazy thick bumpers in California in the late 70s? Look terrible, haha."
Well, they were all over the country, but I loved them. Where are you going to sit when you're waiting for the tow truck, Jay? Right on that bumper. It's a comfortable seat.
JY says, 55 Chevy pickup. Chris Knife says, my first was a 77 Plymouth Arrow that I bought for $100. I think I buried it or pushed it on into the Plate River.
It was that bad?
Kevin says, Jay like guardrails. Tabo says, otherwise I'd make do with an L34 LH Torana.
We don't know what that is. We are ignorant on Australian cars. I do enough learning American cars and trying to learn a Mexican cars. I don't have any room in my brain.
Barracuda says 6 foot, but Dan Gurney fitted at 6'3".
Really? Did they use like a shoehorn to get him out?
Dean says Lee Iacocca was an engineer who thought styling,
Styling.
styling should overrule engineering. His engineering cup was less than 66 millimeters full. Granda's Chunk says mine would be a 68 Dodge Charger 426 Hemi.
Granddad, I never bought a Charger. They never interested me when I was young. Everybody had them. Every car that the media told me you have to like, the Mustang, the Camaro, the Charger, all of that, never had any interest in any of them. Give me a big car. For the Dodge, I'll take a Polera, fully loaded, air conditioning, power windows, everything. I would rather drive that because I never chase speed. So I like luxury. Even when I was 16, I wanted luxury as much as I could get.
Chris Sanders says the 81 Chevette is one of the slowest and most fun cars I've ever driven. It feels like a go-kart you can drive on the road.
Okay, Chris, I don't want to rain on your parade, but the reason that I am not a fan of the Chevette is because the steering column is in there at an angle. And if there wasn't enough room to put the steering column in there straight, there's no room for your legs in an accident. That's why I bought them and drove them and sold them and everything, but I would never want to be driving that car.
JY says Boss Hog had the best bumper car. So did the Dukes.
Boss Hog had a Cadillac. You talking about the police cars?
hmm Kevin says also get heated rear window so your hands don't get cold when pushing your Chevy.
That would mean you have to have the ignition on and the button press, which most people don't when you're pushing a car.
Tavo says this is what I'm like with the plethora of US models.
Yeah. I only know them because I had the cars. I had hands-on experience with them. I'm a little fuzzy on the cars that I didn't have, which is some of the Pontiacs and early 60s Oldsmobiles and stuff like that, but I had most of the cars in my hands, so I know them inside and out because they were mine. I would drive them, I would have to fix them.
Dean says, but the guys who did the Fox, Fairmont, Zephyr, Mustang, and Capri were very, very thorough. Chris Knife says, that's what we used to do, Spec. We work cars out, then push them into the river to reinforce the bank. Dirt river version of coral reefs. Hey!
Him?
Yeah.
He's right here.
Yeah, but I don't want him.
He's sitting right here with me.
I thought he was over here.
No, he's not. Danny, are you waiting for me?
Granda says, that's cool, Mexi. Barracuda says, he needed a bubble in the roof of his helmet to fit it into.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
JY says, Trans Am was nice due to Smokey and the Bandit movie. Eagle was nice on the hood.
Well, I don't know if it was an eagle, but yeah. I had one too. I had a black. I have a picture here of me standing there. You've seen the picture, the Trans Am I had.
Josh Homan says, I believe Toranas were Novas under another name.
Or a Nova type car.
Dean says, I've always said the Tommaso Mangusta Pantera Longchamp the wheel like Mexican spec foxes. I'm not fussy. Kevin Smith says the Chevette is only vet I like. Pitsna says Chevette. What?
Oh,
No, Pitsna says Chevette trash. I had a citation living on the fancy end of the trailer park. That was says to Josh Homan. Only similarity was they were both GM products. Torana was smaller, very lightly based on an Opel design.
okay.
Daniel Morrissey is here.
Hi, Daniel. We don't mean to keep you up so late. Oh, he's in California, so it's only 10:20 there.
Mm-hmm. It says hello Mexican Spec, Mrs. Mexican Spec, and crew. Davos says original Torana was a rebadged Vauxhall Viva. Kevin says Pete same and as me. Josh says thanks. They look quite a bit like Novas to me. Business says I don't worry about it until I can't fix it. Granddad says Tavo, I bought a SL Torana 202 and a 5-speed for 250 and drove it home.
Mm.
Tavo says Wood Design Studios will do that. Josh Homan. World Design Studios will do that. Josh Homan. JY says any stolen cars from US and over Mexico. Rebirth down there.
There's all kinds of stories about that, but every time I go to the border, there's to bring a car into Mexico. Let's say it's the same place in Nogales. You have to get it past the border, and then probably about an hour. Was it about an hour down the road where the police inspection was? About an hour down the road, there's a police inspection there, and if everything isn't right there, then they pull you out of the car and everything. And then there's other inspections going down the road. So I don't know how anybody gets a stolen car into Mexico. Maybe they put it up on a trailer or something. I don't know. But there's inspections all over the place. Going north, there's even more.
Dean says you take the gentle slap back, Mrs. Mexican Spec. Save it for later.
Of course, they could keep them at the border, where they just drive them around the border. I don't know. But to drive one around Mexico, it's going to get caught at some point.
I didn't slap you.
No, not me.
I didn't slap anyone. Barracuda says I like hatchback Toranas, but no interest in the 4-door. Pitsnap says Skep, my childhood driving platform was the roof of a '68 GTO sinking in the river. Diving platform. Sorry, diving platform. That was his part to Barracuda. I'm the opposite. The hatch was an abomination.
There's a car for everybody. Don't be fighting.
JY says any Mexican cars make the Fast and the Furious movies? You will know.
I don't think so. Although there's been so many movies I haven't seen. I've probably seen the first and the second, and then the one they did in Japan. But I don't think they didn't do one here, so I don't think they used any of them. They
Mm.
did come into Mexico, didn't they? In I think the second one, they used one of the narco tunnels to get into Mexico, but they didn't bring any cars back.
You're asking the wrong person about this.
Okay, then I'm asking the person behind you.
Granda says, "Yay! Will you give Mexic ideas? The cartel will want to employ him. You will give Mexic ideas. The cartel will want to employ him."
No, don't want to have anything to do with them.
Dean says, "A Chevette with a nice 500 Cadillac Steve Magnet."
Mañante.
Huh?
Mañante is his name. Trust me.
Steve Magnante style, Kevin. You could make a model. How about a Pontiac T1000 5-door with a 500 Caddy? Chris Sanders says there's so many other things that make the Chevette scary. That's just one more. Don't crash it.
Yeah.
Kevin says sure, Dino. Dean says wasn't it the it was Daniel the cat?
Don't try to understand it.
Joshua says 1-star crash test safety rating.
If even that.
JY says Max cars.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin says gonna be busy for 2 months building the 58 Oldsmobile 88 wagon model. I get the third 3D printed body tomorrow.
That's cool. What color is it going to be, Kevin? The green?
Dean says, lol, good answer, Mrs. Mexican Spec. But Dean spelled it wrong. That's how we know it's really Dean. JY says, ever do this in Spanish? You mean the lives?
The only person in here that speaks Spanish is Tavo to us. So she
Yeah.
reads his comments in Spanish. The car that's coming up on the screen, this car, believe it or not, this is a Fox Body Mustang. Dean, don't cry. Somebody did this to a Fox Body Mustang. I will not say any more about it. You guys can comment.
Kevin says, no time to build any other models till that one is done. JY says, Mad Max cars, Max Rogastaski.
The Mad Max cars were down under. They weren't from here. Danny, that is not your bed. Get out of there. It's not your bed. You get the other one.
As long as it doesn't pee on it. Kevin says, Jade and Frost White on the Oldsmobile wagon.
Okay, so it is going to have some green in it.
Dean says, I don't know. Daniel Morrissey says, Mexican Spec, has there ever been a time they made cars in Mexico and sold them in the USA at a Mexican dealership?
Well, there are a lot of cars were made in the USA and I mean made in Mexico and sold in the US, but no, they didn't at the time with the cars that I'm dealing with, which are 25-year-old cars. No, Mexico was closed at the time. Remember that they didn't really open the border until Clinton signed the NAFTA agreement, and then things were able to cross into the US and then cross back into Mexico. So before that, there wasn't much going on about that.
Kevin says, Mrs. Spec, do y'all have email? I could send you pics.
Pics of what? Oh, the 58?
You want to send it right now? What's the email?
My email is Mexican Spec.
That's not.
Spec.
Hold on.
REAL at Gmail. But they're going to come on my computer, so I'm not going to be able to see them here.
Dean says the Volkswagen thing, whatever it was called, Mexican Spec. Wait. Patrick says abomination to the Mustang. Tavo says it was a Fox body Mustang. Chris says, why did the Pinto get such a bad rep for the fuel tank? The Chevette will do the same thing when the filter neck comes loose from the tank.
All of the little cars do. You hit a little car with a full size car with a V8 engine in it and all that weight. What do you expect?
Dean says the Volkswagen thing, whatever it was called, Mexican Spec. Granddad's Young says a blind man would love to see it.
It's a safari, Dean. In Mexico, it's a safari.
JY says heaps of Mad Max cars in California. A few nice Falcons, bro.
Really? They were imported from down under? People do all kinds of all kinds of things with cars. The front bumper on the Beetle was fine without all the extra, but somebody made this, I guess, plastic front bumper and put it on the car. Just crazy. People doing stuff.
Dean says the Chevette had a trunk C-pillar mounted tank, like the Gemini sedan. Barracuda says, I see someone is looking at giving the cartels a clovering.
Yes, and that's what I'm worried about, Barry, because my son lives in the town that they would be targeting.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that, I mean, over there in Caracas, they limited it to very specific points, but the cartel does not live in one little area. They're all over the whole town. So I'm not sure what they're going to do to, take them out. And there's going to be a lot of innocents taken out too. So I
Yeah.
don't know what their plan would be.
Dean says the Vauxhall Chevette was a three-door coupe hatch. Chris Sanders says to Dean, so it's better than a Pinto? Dean says way better. Better.
I'll take 100 Pintos before a Chevette.
JY says, what's the perfect first car? Chevy Nova, nice and cheap.
The first car for a girl is a mid-sized station wagon like a Dodge Aspen because she's going to smash it up. And she needs to learn how to control that size car for when she gets into a smaller car, she can handle it easily. That's what I think. Or maybe this hearse. That would be good too.
Dean says the T car was a very safe car.
Not
That
when you drive it. You do not get the feeling of a safe car.
that was his bumper seat on the Volkswagen. JY says machete. Barracuda says that's a worry for sure.
Mm-hmm.
JY says Griswold wagon.
Any station wagon, full size, medium size, whatever. It's too bad they never made a Dart station wagon for 70 to 76. I wonder what that would have looked like. And I wonder why they brought it back for 77. I don't know the thinking process in the company at the time.
Dean says the Pinto legal game plan was a storm in a teacup, but like Unsafe at Any Speed by Ralph Nader is 90% legal spin, 10% lies.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Sanders says to Dean, good to know. What if I mount a fuel cell in the trunk? Even better?
Then it might leak and you smell the gas.
JY says, Brady Bunch wagon. Then they say, Mr. Cunningham de Soto, happy days.
No, a kid would not want to drive one of those, that's for sure. It was not an attractive car and it didn't move very well.
Dean says, Ford Mustang Machete. For Mustang Mach Eddie.
Mach Eddie.
Granddad's Junk says, sometimes better the devil you know than the ones you don't. Someone will fill the void if cartels get clobbered.
That's exactly what happened here when El Chapo got taken out. That's why there's so much unrest here. I mean, it's a product of that. It's not directly, but it's a product of that.
Tavo says, early 70s Dart wagon would probably look like our 70 Valiant wagon.
Yeah.
Pizza says, put your daughter's Suburban surrounded by tractor tire bumpers. Buy your daughter's Suburban surrounded by tractor tire bumpers. And buy your son's Yugos or Chevettes or Citations. Let them learn what horsepowers cost.
Yeah, and you're also making sure that your son's not going to get laid in the Yugo Chevette citation. So that's another plus. But you're giving the girl a suburban that has three bench seats in it, so her and two of her friends can get busy. That's not a really good plan.
JY says, John Wick Mustang, best car.
I have never seen one of those movies.
Oh. Biz Knife says, power vacuum.
Yep, that's the problem we have here. Because when El Chapo was in charge, he made sure that his people did not bother the public. So there was no fighting, there was no killing, nothing. We could go to any of the cities, we could do anything, but that all went to hell, literally.
Darlene Morris says, my family had a 1970 LTD Ford station wagon in the early 70s. I was a tank, well built.
It was a tank, probably. Yeah, I love those cars. You gotta love the covered headlights on the wagons and all that. I'm very partial to Ford cars of that era.
And Dean says if you want to put 10 gallons of unapproved, poorly mounted aftermarket tank in the trunk, that's up to you. It's your car's aspirations. Um, Chris Sanders says, better idea. I just had use an extra long filler neck hose so it has plenty of slack in case of rear end accident. JY says, Otavo, do you like the movie Duel? It has the Mopar that looks like Australian version, same style. Dean says, lol, slap Mr. Spec, Mr. Mexican Spectre now, Mrs. Spec. Lol, does that guy have any filter? Do you have any filter?
Yes, I'm controlling it right now.
Mm. And Pesnar says that, what was that?
Probably Vanjie. Yeah.
I thought I heard a girl. Pesnar says that was supposed to be the quiet part spec. Store your used tires in the back of the bourbon. Do the spec.
Yeah, I'm sure the girl's gonna want to drive around with old stinky tires in the back of her Suburban. How long do you think that would last?
Jay Wise asks, have you been to Disneyland?
Yes, quite a few times. A friend of mine, I went with a friend of mine. He used to be um, a stuntman, and we walk into Disneyland, and we're walking down Main Street, and he says, my grandfather was on the team that designed this Main Street here, and he points up and look, there's his name right up there on the window up there. Like, oh, okay. So he knew a lot more about Disneyland than I did. And I had to listen to that the whole time I was there.
Chris says, just don't want that filler neck hose to rip off the tank and dump hot fuel out. Dean Stevenson says, lol, a 90 millimeter cup of coffee. You kept saying milliliters cup of coffee. Pitsnap says, like we care. JY says, Scooby Doo wagon, a Volkswagen. Oh, Scooby Doo wagon, a Volkswagen is a question. What was it, Scooby Doo wagon?
I think it was a Chevy van, a flat nose Chevy van. It was not a Volkswagen. Definitely not. It was not. It was not drawn to be any of the vehicles, but I think it's closest to the flat nose Chevy van of the time.
Dean Stevenson says, I know your car, Pitsnipe. Pitsnipe says, free truck, gas free, mellow daddy, room to make mistakes. Nope. Dean says, because I cannot spell Mrs. Mexican Spec. I know, but
Well, on the bright side, Pitt, most teens don't want to have a driver's license, so you don't have to buy them any vehicles. Very few of them are wanting to drive. Saves parents a lot of money.
JY says, have you seen Punisher movie? Please say yes.
No, I've not. I haven't. We haven't watched a movie in how long?
A while.
It's been a long, long time. We're talking about years.
I think the last movie that we saw was
I have to check my computer, Kevin, which means get it started again.
what I have my cell phone. I have my cell phone right here.
The email's not on there because it's a new email.
Um, it's not connected to you. Okay, never mind then. Hold on, guys. Behave.
Just trying to get to open again. Okay, let's see. There's a test email.
We got a test
That
email.
one worked. Oldsmobile photos. Yeah, that is a really nice color on that car. That's gonna look really nice.
Do you want to show it?
Well, I'm gonna have to. Well, I don't know how I could do that, and we're gonna getting close to.
That's a no. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Tony Morris says Mexican Spec. What production company did your friend the stuntman work for?
Who asked that?
Daniel Morrissey.
He worked. I don't know if you remember John Eric Hexum. He was um, he was the lead in the Voyagers, and my friend's stepson was the kid in it, Mino Pelus. Pelus. He was John's stunt double. He looked just like him, same build, same everything. And when John killed himself accidentally, then my friend basically ended up not having any more work in that. So he would have had a long career doing the stunts if John hadn't done to himself what he did.
JY says get a bike. Kevin Smith says if it didn't, I will send another tomorrow. Chris Knife says true Spec. It's a different time. Again, my dad is 27.
No, I did, Kevin. I got the pictures. I did get the pictures, but to send him over here, I don't know how I do that.
Kevin says no rush. Chris Sanders says to Dean Stevenson's, yeah, scratch the fuel cell idea. That tank I have is rusted out. Guess I'll just get an OEM replacement. JY says, you don't like car movies? Last chance. Have you seen Christine?
Have I seen Christine? I know everything from Christine.
Chris Knife says,
Most of the lines, and every time I drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, I passed by the location where they burned the gas station, and there was still the property was still burned, but that was where the gas station was that they burned it out in the desert.
can I think about it?
What? Oh, say it again.
Can I think about it?
Don't think about it too long, or throw you out in your fucking ass.
Yeah, we love Christine in this house.
Yeah. And my Fury is Christine's little sister. She's the same car, only 5 years younger. So yeah, she has the same personality too. I can tell you that.
Chris Knife says, did I hear behave? Yes, you did.
Oh, behave. Was it like that?
Kevin says, my brain ain't working for some reason.
I wonder why, Kevin. I wonder why.
Josh Thomas says, yes, you did. Chris Knife says, behave is like a starter's pistol. JY says, training day car.
That was a Chevy Monte Carlo, 78, 79 maybe.
I feel like they're making you dance.
Okay.
Dance, Maggie, dance.
That's okay. Dance, Maggie, dance.
Kevin says, wow, I did it with the power on. I
Power
did
of
it
NyQuil.
with power of NyQuil. Dean says, you have self knowledge, Kevin, so it's still working. Kevin says, sure, if you can share it. Tavo says, oh, I'm still sending to the old email.
That's fine, Tabo, because I'm using both of them.
They both work.
The new one I just put on my website, so I know it's only people sending for car information.
Yeah, they both. We still get both emails. JY says, good night, all. Work tomorrow.
Good night, Jay. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being here. Daniel Morris says, as Mexican Spec, a friend of mine was Hal Needham, a stuntman. He had high speed trucks.
Oh, yeah, we all know that name, Daniel. And we all know how he died and what movies he put out. So, yeah. My friend's, now this is good for all of us. My friend's mother was, oh, God, Cheryl Ladd's stunt double on Charlie's Angels. His mother was also a stunt person, so she doubled for Cheryl Ladd on Charlie's Angels. So my friend got to meet all of the angels, And of course, my favorite was Jacqueline Smith. She was the best.
Business says NyQuil is a mellow high. If in if you ain't, yeah, just push through the sleepy. Good on you, Cup.
Pitt, whenever I take it or took it, since I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I have no resistance at all, it puts me to sleep immediately. No questions asked. I am out. And then I wake up the next day and wonder what happened. I feel good though.
JY says, Tavo, how come you don't comment on Tony's live? Steve Andrews says, yes, they did make an A-Bodies Chrysler Valiant station wagon in Australia in the 1967 into the 70s. I would love to have one. Daniel Morris says, yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, it was unnecessary what happened to him.
Kevin says, behaving is not possible. JY says, Patrick. Chris says, can't polish a third.
Another line from Christine.
Yeah. Kevin says, NyQuil just makes my legs run. How annoying. I know something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says, I love that movie. I have it on VHS. Me too. Dean says, behaving isn't an option. Dean says, Lenny Kravitz dance mofo. This time says, air frying a sandwich because I don't want to get any dishes dirty. Lol. I'm such a domesticated savage bachelor. Kevin says, putting earplugs up my nose, dang running like a river. I don't know, that's a good thing. Kevin says, Dino, how did you know the warden's nickname for me? JY says, Footloose had a Volkswagen.
Yeah. It was not a star car or anything. It was just a regular Beetle.
Chris Sanders says, to Dean Stevenson, I noticed a couple of holes rusting through a passenger side shock tower. I got a lot of work ahead of me.
What color is your Chevette, Chris? I'm gonna say it's red or white.
Dean Stevenson says, how many Mustang 2 hoods did she dent? If it was a Mexican Mustang 2, no hoods would have been dented. Granddad says, anyone remembers the Hell Drivers?
No.
No. And Morris says, all good people, all Hollywood was great.
Yeah.
Bitside Husker says, good Spec. That's the way it's supposed to work. You sleep harder than the dead, then and wake up ready for anything.
That's the way it's supposed to. Yeah, supposed to work for you. But I don't have any resistance because I don't take anything else. I don't even like taking aspirin. But sometimes you have to.
Kevin says, Hell Drivers was cool. Dean says, yes, I saw them, Granddad's junk, at the Clyde race course in 1980. That says, I sent a pic via email for you to work out Mexican Spec.
Okay. When I get to the computer.
Granddad's junk says, they came to New Zealand a few times. A friend of mine did stunts for them. Kevin says, nickname equals Lenny from Mice and Men.
Mm.
Dean says, because you don't have to put on the alarm.
The red
Kevin?
light.
Kevin says, or movie.
I think we're just about done here. There's only like 20 more pictures to go. So dark red.
That's the engine.
Well, I'm reading Chris's answer to me. I'm trying to picture a Chevette in dark red. Oh, they had red.
It was dark red with white interior. Now it's rust red with this white seats. What interior?
Okay.
Dean says they were called the Datsun Nissan Hell Drivers, doing the rebrand in the 80s. Might have been 81. JY
The
says,
rebrand was in '84, Dean. Did they do it earlier over there?
ever heard of Eddie Bravo? I follow him. Conspiracy guy. Cool show. I know the cartoon.
No, I haven't. I don't. I only
That's Johnny
follow
Bravo.
certain people here.
I know Johnny Bravo. You know Johnny Bravo?
Yes.
Okay. Bisnav says, I envy your clean blood sometimes, Spec. We all have a recipe. Dean says, gluten free.
Yep.
Kevin says, Dino, don't let Roxana hear you say that she will be your warden next.
That's a long distance warden, Kevin. So this is the 2000 van, so we're right at the end. See, only 5-digit odometer on the Volkswagen vans for some reason. Weird. In kilometers, 5 digits in kilometers, so it turns over a lot.
Sorry. Sorry. Kevin says, the warden hates that song. Dean says, earlier here, it was technically 83. My auntie got a Nissan Bluebird from front
Yeah,
drive.
yeah, they did start putting Nissan on the 83s, but it wasn't until 84 that you really noticed it.
Brandes Young says, they were a great show. I saw them at Tonga Morris, did high fall stunts. Patrick says, how many accrued hours view time you need, Max?
I'm at about 1320 or 1330, something like that, and you need 3000. So I'm still working on it. That's why we're going to do lives on the road. Um, you know, plus all the videos that I'm putting out. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to get there.
Business says, I love Eddie. He ain't making documentaries. He's just trying to figure it all out. JY says, don't peek into that van at night. Dean says, she's simply awesomeness, Kevin. JY says, Spitz, Flat Earth, love Eddie. Kevin says, Dino, you wouldn't have said that last night. I was in the doghouse.
Is that the Eddie Bravo that goes on Joe Rogan? Is it one of Joe Rogan's friends?
Patrick says, ways to go yet.
Okay, turn the cars off.
Hold on. Business says, right, yeah, I love him. We all get there on our own path, and Eddie is hilarious. Chris Sanders says, I'd super chat if I could. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Dean says, it's okay, Kevin. She only does it because she loves you. Dean says, so behave already, Kevin. Business says, oh yeah, context. I live with 2,500 Marines. I love my savages.
A lot of camaraderie there. This van on the screen is the one I was telling you about earlier that was so nice, but the people just disappeared. The phone number disappeared, and the pictures were strategically taken so it never showed a license plate, so I could never run it to see what the VIN is of the vehicle or anything. So I don't know. I don't know if it actually existed, but I'm glad I don't have to go into Zacatecas to go buy it and drive it out.
The JY says, yes, Eddie has been on JRE. He's got 10th Planet, BJJ gyms all over the US.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen him on Rogan quite a few times. Very interesting. So I think it's about bedtime, but we got to throw the trash out first. And you have a lot of dishes to clean. They're not really dishes; they're rubber things.
Mm.
So I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. I hope we didn't keep you guys up too late. I know it's almost 12 o'clock here, and it's later where some of you are, and earlier in hour where some of you are. So so we're gonna say good night. You have anything to say?
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being on, some of you for being on both of our lives, Saturday and Sunday. We're gonna try to keep doing it. Probably not next week because we do have a trip.
Yeah, we're gonna be out on the road, but we're gonna be doing lives from the road.
We're gonna try to do lives on the road because I do want to keep an eye. It's gonna be a new road, so I want to keep an eye on the map. But
The
hopefully
GPS.
you guys can join us. I'm not sure what time it's gonna be, but we will let you know. But thank you for joining us, and we hope we see you soon.
Adiós a todos.
Thank you for being here, guys. Bye bye.